Great to have you with us. Ryan McAdams with us. He is running for Congress. He's a Republican in the 4th District of Virginia. He's an underdog to the favorite there, incumbent Don McEachin, running for a second term. And the 4th District runs from Chesapeake all the way up for 60, Richmond, Petersburg. That's McEachin's stronghold. That's how he won in 2016, and he's a favorite there, although we haven't seen much of him. McAdams thinks he can make this race very competitive, predicting the big upset victory will be on him on November 6th. We'll see if it turns out. He's also an L.A. Dodger fan, and as you know, I hate the Dodgers, I hate the Red Sox, I hate the Yankees. In fact, I hate all teams except mine. I hate their stadiums, I hate their beer, I hate their fans, I hate their players, I hate their catchers, I hate the umpires who ump their games, I don't like their hot dogs, I hate them all, and I especially hate the Dodgers. Good to have you, Ryan.
Wow. Don't like baseball.
I'm an Astros fan, but I'm a baseball hater. So I hate everybody else.
But your son plays.
I know, and if an Astro player gets traded, then I hate them.
Are you a Biggio Bagwell guy? Do you go all the way back there?
Yeah, I go back to Jimmy Wynn, Joe Morgan, Larry Dierker, Jerry Grody. So I go back to the early 60s when I became a fan. So I've been a fan for a very long time. But yes, my son is a left-handed pitcher. He's a 2022 graduate. Tell us about your campaign. Why do you think you can win this race?
Well, I mean, what I see going on the ground is that you just said it earlier. We haven't seen anything from Donald McEachin. Zero. I mean, he's an absentee congressman as it is, but in this campaign, it's really boggling. I mean, he's just not anywhere to be found in the district.
Why? Is he sick?
Well, he's sick. I mean, that just came out finally in the RTD. I mean, he says it's not cancer, and I'm not a doctor. I don't know, and we don't wish that upon anybody. Of course, I'm a pastor. I care about everybody, including my opponent. But I'm sure that's hampered him. But even things like signs and just basic things involved in the campaign. I mean, he seems to be very aloof and disconnected completely, and that's basically the narrative of Donald McEachin throughout the district. Is he is nowhere to be found. He's not listening to people. He's not engaged. I mean, outside of Richmond, pretty much the rest of the district, in Chesapeake here. I mean, he's never down anywhere outside of Richmond, and even in Richmond, people are like, "Where's Donald McEachin?" It's like, "Where's Waldo?" It's like, "Where's Donald McEachin?" So that's a big advantage for us because, I mean, I'm about as grassroots as you can be. I mean, I'll just tell you, Saturday I was here in Chesapeake at a pastor's gathering. I was at the Wine Fest. Then I went up to Chesterfield. I was at Sheriff Leonard's pig roast. Yesterday I was at a drag race. I was at a gun show. I mean, we are crisscrossing the district and reaching out to people. And I'll tell you what, people are discontent. It doesn't matter whether you're an independent, a Democrat or a Republican. People are discontent because they don't feel like they have representation in the 4th District right now.
And it's so different than the Don McEachin that we know, because when Don was in the state Senate, although he was very liberal and he was part of Dick Saslaw's leadership team as caucus leader, he was engaging. I mean, I would go to his office, we'd laugh, he'd come on my show all the time, and we'd have fun, we'd cut up, and he was actually very entertaining and a good guest on radio, and he, represented the opposite view, and him and Saslaw were a pretty good tag team there as they were trying to get things done within their very slim minority status. But as soon as he got to Washington, boy, all that changed. You can't find him. He certainly doesn't talk to me anymore, and it's really changed him. And his anti-Trump rhetoric is ridiculous.
That's all he talks about.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you get anything done with that. I mean, I get it if you're a challenger running against a Republican like Spanberger and you want to hate on Trump. I get that. But you're a congressman. You got to work with the president. Yeah. You're in a district where we've got military and other things. I don't know what you gain by that.
Yeah, and he started off, he didn't even go up to the inauguration. He was one of those that disrespected the president.
That's how it started.
And he wouldn't stand. I mean, it just goes from beginning to end. That's his position, and he doesn't talk about solutions. I was at a forum with him on his home turf. He won't debate me, of course, but that's, I guess, normal for an incumbent in some cases. We've tried really hard. We've had the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, want to do something. We had Regent want to do something. He just won't do it. And then we finally said, hey, we'll do it anywhere in the district. We'd love to meet you, but he won't debate. But we did do a forum on Virginia State. And the first statement that came out of his mouth, this is the first statement that came out of Donald McEachin's mouth when he had introductory statements. He says, I know all of you here are angry. And I just want to stand with you in your anger, basically. And you know what? Most Americans
Angry for what?
I mean, it was just like
economy we've had since the 1950s. I mean, what are you angry at?
Well, that's
about?
the thing.
What, you're banging on doors and Antifa and you're angry and mobs and for what? For a better job, better pay, better wages, better economy, better growth?
Yeah, it's like you hating on baseball. It's like, why are you hating on baseball? Why are you hating on the economy? No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, it boggles your mind, you know, as a congressman that is called. I mean, to me, I want to represent all the people of 4th District. You know, it's not about, to me, it's really not about a party. It's about the people. And I think that we need representation that's going to get back to the Common Core responsibility of the House of Representatives, is to represent the people of their district. Now, yeah, your party and obviously your principles and your policy, but I want to represent independents. I want to represent Democrats too. So I'm not going to. I'm a more of a moderate tone, I guess you'd say. Anyways, I love the president, but I want to represent all the people of the 4th District, and to be able to be someone that the people of the 4th District can be proud of represent. I don't think people really feel that way at all right now because of his tone and Donald McEachin's tone.
Ryan, what are the key issues that you're running on?
Well, one of the key issues. This is interesting. I mean. Let's just move policy aside. This goes back to Donald McEachin too. But what I hear constantly in the 4th District is that people feel like they don't have constituency services. Horrible. I mean, and this isn't a party issue, because I hear people in the 4th District, of course, they loved Randy Forbes, and he had tremendous constituency services. But Norman Sisisky was also a very good congressman. There's an example of a Democrat that was a good congressman for the 4th District. And people loved his constituency services. And I hear great things about them, but right now they feel they're used to good constituency services with those two congressmen, and they feel like that they don't have someone that's representing them. So that's a big issue in the 4th District. People feel like that they don't have a voice, that they don't even aren't listened to at all. So that's a big focus in this race, is just say, look, I'm here, I'm present, I'm grassroots, I'm a person of the people. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to represent farmers. I'm here to represent the military. That's a big issue for me. I really want to support the military. Obviously, I want to see the economy continue. I was a small business owner. I'm a pastor, but I was a small business owner. I really care about seeing the economy continue, and I'd like to see even more tax cuts for small business owners and greater tax relief there, less regulation. The president's doing a fantastic job. I know you're a huge supporter. I am too, of everything he's doing in the economy. I'd love to see manufacturing come back into the 4th District. Like to see some things down the 95 corridor. There's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of opportunity for redevelopment. The port area here and the corridor, 17 corridor, there's a lot of talk and interest in opening that up for business. And so those are things I'm interested to specifically help the 4th District. And also public housing. I was a social worker for 3 years. So that's something I'm also, I have a lot of experience in. I've been very close at hand seeing how that doesn't work in a lot of cases. Originally public housing was supposed to be transitional housing. And as we know, it's become status quo. People are dependent on that. And so I have some innovative ideas. I know HUD's doing a lot of great things with that. So those are some of the things that I really feel like that I'm going to be focused on. Veterans.
Ryan, what's your website?
RyanMcAdamsForCongress.com.
Ryan, let's get to your economic platform against your opponent, Don McEachin. What are the top 3 things economically you want to do?
Well, when I talk to small business owners all over the district, they all say that they're doing great. I only had one business owner that said that he was doing bad, and it was a wine shop on the West End. And he said the main reason was not because of anything Trump was doing, and he was happy about that, but it was because of Amazon. So they all say, the internet was really eating into his market. All the small business owners say they're doing great. The one need that they say that they have is that they need qualified workers. I hear it time and time again. Government contractors, small businesses, large businesses, we need workers. So one of the things that I really want to focus on is workforce training. And I really have a heart to help our vets with that. So one of the things that the service organizations talk a lot about is what's called transitional services. And so when our vets are coming out of the armed services, that they might not have the skills as far as the economy to be able to translate into civilian life. And so they need workforce training. I just talked to a vet. I was at an event in Waverly, and he said, talking about workforce training, he said, you know what, I came out and I struggled to find a job. I was painting houses. I was doing lawns. I was doing anything I could to make ends meet. And finally, I found my niche. I got into security. Now I'm working for the Sussex jail, and he's in criminal justice now. And I started talking about workforce training. He said, you know what? That would be fantastic, because I would have loved to have not really, in his mind, wasted 4 years of bumbling around and struggling and be able to move right into the economy. So we have a huge need in our economy. To keep it going, to keep it moving, we need to train our workers. And so why not train our vets? And it's a big need to work on that. The other thing is coupling workforce training with our welfare system, particularly our public housing. And there's a lot of things, innovative ideas and designs that are happening with this right now that HUD's doing. There's HUD's doing some things in Detroit. And also there's the private sector and the nonprofit sector are doing these type of things. There's a project that's happening in Churchill on the east side of Richmond, and it's called the 25th Street Community Project. And they're doing affordable housing, mixed-use housing. They're doing minority businesses, small businesses. They have a grocery store that they're actually bringing people from the community in to train them with life skills, and also train them to work in the grocery store. There's a culinary school right there that I think it's J. Sargent Reynolds or I think it's J. Sargent or John Tyler. One of them is doing this culinary school. The VCU is opening up a health center. So this is a holistic approach to, I believe, affordable housing, but also coupling it with workforce training. And I want to see that, but there's no federal dollars in that. And so I want to see our public housing move into transitional housing that is actually going to get people working. So transitional housing coupled with workforce training, career development, and also life skills. And let's get people off of government dependence. Let's get them into the economy, tax-paying workers in the middle class, in prosperity, that are prospering themselves, but are also becoming part of the solution to get people off of poverty, get people off of government dependence, and into prosperity. So those, to me, that's the main focus that what I want to focus on in Congress for the 4th District, was creating jobs. Skilled jobs. I know I'm talking a lot again, but I talked to John Biagas, and he owns Bay Electric, and he said, I could hire 30 electricians right now if I had the qualified guys to hire. So I think the government plays a role in that. I think that not that we take it over, but we can work with high schools to get trade school training in there. We can work with our community colleges and get the type of training for these trades and things like that. These are good jobs, And so if we can get it out there and work with the private sector, work with the nonprofit, work with our schools to be able to get jobs, available and create opportunity for people, I think that would be a big help.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. I'm with Ryan McAdams. He's running for Congress in the 4th District against John McEachin. He's a Republican. He's a big underdog. However, he's got Mike Pence coming in for a rally for him on Saturday, October 20th. That's just around the corner, 7:45 to 8:45 at the SunTrust building in Richmond. There'll be information on that on his website pretty soon, probably tomorrow.
Hopefully by the end of today. That's what we're hoping. Yeah, by tomorrow.
And that rally is free. There's also a reception if you want to attend that, a fundraiser with the vice president, likely at about 6:30 p.m. or so before that. Ryan, let me just ask you this straight out. So you're going to Democratic strongholds of Don McEachin in African-American churches and other things. Obviously, you have to get Democrats to consider voting for you in order to win. As you're talking to Democrats, Ryan, what are they saying?
Well, we have a program. Let me just back up a little bit. One of the things I think that makes me unique is that I'm a pastor. I've been a social worker. I care about a lot of the things that I believe the African-American, particularly the urban areas, really care about. Like we've already talked about welfare, public housing. I care about criminal justice reform. I've seen that close in hand. So those are things we're talking about. The economy, as you believe and I believe, is just going through the roof. It's booming. And that's good for all Americans. It's really been good for African Americans. Actually, the unemployment, as you know, is the lowest it's ever been. So we talk about the economy. And as you know, a lot of African Americans, particularly the conservative African Americans in the church, are very conservative socially. So we talk about pro-life.
Right, but what are they saying?
What they're
I understand
saying,
what you're telling them, but when you go to a Democrat who voted for McEachin, voted for Clinton, they're a Democratic voter, and you go into Richmond or Petersburg and you say, I'm Ryan McAdams, I'm a Republican, I'm running for Congress, blah, blah, blah. What are they saying?
What they say to me is, you're right, because I'll tell them, you know what, the Democratic Party hasn't done anything for you. They've made a lot of promises, but they really haven't produced anything. And they say, you're right. And then I say, you know what? And Republicans haven't come and talked to you and messaged to you and asked for your vote. And they've taken you for granted in that sense. And they say, you're right. And I say, well, I'm here. And I said, to me, I'm not about Republican or Democrat. I'm about solutions. And I have solutions for you. I have conservative solutions for you. I've got different solutions than the Democratic Party has. But I've got solutions for you. And I believe that they'll work. I believe it's going to give you the jobs that you need in this community. I believe it's going to give you the redevelopment that you need, opportunity zones. And we talk about that. I believe it's going to give you the affordable housing that you need. I mean, we're not going to solve all their problems. But I believe that, hey, compared to what the Democrats have given you, which is nothing, I mean, we are a huge step up, and I'm actually here. I'm present. You know, that's the one thing that they say is, you know what, you're here, and I appreciate that. And then when I tell them I'm a pastor, when I tell them I've been a social worker, their eyebrows go up. You know, they're like, oh, really? And they want to know more. They want to know why I'm in this race. They want to know, well, how do you feel about the president? And I tell them, I said, you know what, I love the president. I love his policies, but I'm not the president. I'm my own person. I have a different tone. I have a more moderate tone. I'm one that wants to be a bridge builder. I want to reach out. I want to bring us together. I'm not a divisive voice. I said, whatever you think about the Democratic Party or your current congressman, is he's a divisive voice. All he has to do is tear down the president. I said, I'm here to build up. I'm not here to talk, even to tear down the Democratic Party for the most part. I'm here to tell you the solutions that I have for your community. And you know what? It resonates with people because you know what people see in me is that I'm authentic, just like the president. And I know that you love that about the president. I love that about the president, that he's an authentic guy. And what he says is really what he believes. Whether he says it right all the time or he says it wrong, he says what he believes. And that's how I am. I'm just going to tell you straight. I'm not going to try to paint it, just to tell you what you want to hear. But I have solutions. I really believe and I believe the Republican Party should be going into these areas with solutions. And that's what we haven't done in the past. And that's what I'm doing. I need to do it. But you know what? I'm a unique candidate because I have a heart to do it. And I'm uniquely qualified to do it as a pastor. I've worked with the African-American community really my whole career. And as a social worker, I worked in public housing. I worked with at-risk youth. I mentored African-American kids. We ran a Taekwondo program with the police department. So I have credibility. It's not like I've just come lately. I've been there. I've done it. And they see that and they know that. And we're going into African-American churches, same thing. And so it resonates because you know what? I think African Americans are very sensitive. They can read people, and I think I think most of them can read where I'm coming from in my heart, and so to me, we're getting traction.
What's your website?
RyanMcAdamsForCongress.com.
RyanMcAdamsForCongress.com. VP Mike Pence coming in for a rally 7:45 p.m. at SunTrust Building in Richmond on Saturday, October 20th. That'll be on his website.